All right. This video is basically what I like to call an eye-opener video for people who are interested in learning about Kratom. I've been taking Kratom for about 5 years now, maybe 4.5, give or take. Regardless, it's changed my life for the better. And I could probably write a novel, which, hey, I might do that one day, but I could really provide a lot of beneficial information to people who are looking to learn about Kratom. I found it right around 4.5 years ago. Wasn't looking for it, but I happened to stumble upon a product in a store, which I thought, believe it or not, was sexual enhancement pills. And when I was told what they were, I'd never heard of the word Kratom before. So, of course, I get my phone out, start hitting the Google and everything, and I'm seeing all these different links about drug and DEA and, ban and illegal and this and that. But then the more I scrolled and looked, the more I got into the whole information part. Like, this is why people are taking Kratom. This is what it can do for you. This is the effects of it. This is where it comes from. The real deal information, stuff that you actually want to learn. If you ask a politician about it, 95% of the time it's something negative. Oh, this is a drug. People are getting hooked on this. No, none of that. At least in my personal experience. Opiates, yeah, that's a whole different story. And take it from me, I'm a veteran of the United States Coast Guard, disabled because of a bad shoulder, and I was one of those people that was on opiates. They were shoving down my throat at one point in time, not putting a gun to my head, but more or less saying, here, take this feel-good stuff, and we'll have you on it for about 6 months. And then one day, they tried to cut me off cold turkey. I was okay with that, but I had no idea about the withdrawal I was about to go through. And let me tell you, if you've ever experienced that, if you haven't, it's pretty nasty. And mine wasn't even that intense. Mine was just like the beginning stage of, you've got a problem, you need a little bit of help, or you're going to have to push yourself over the speed bump, metaphorically. And it's going to be a tough one. But eventually I did. I'm not going to get into the whole train wreck that I went through with my losses and all that, but I'll just say finding Kratom really did change my life for the better. Kratom is a stimulant. It's in the coffee family. It comes from Southeast Asian countries, Indonesia, Bali, Malay, Borneo, all over the place. There's some issues with Thailand, which is where a lot of Kratom originates from, and they even have a strain called Thai. And the problem with it is, in that country, opium is huge. And when Kratom started to come into play, they're like, wait a minute, we've got all this money coming off opium. If people start doing Kratom or taking Kratom, they'll look away from opium, and they didn't want to lose that money. So you can imagine what happens. This is the brand that I take, OPMS Silver. It's a nice little large packet size, 60 grams, 120 capsules. It comes in powder and capsule form. Capsule tends to be the easiest because you can just pop a bunch in your mouth, or a few. I shouldn't say a bunch. A few, swallow it, hopefully in an empty stomach, and give a little bit of time. As long as all those capsules break open at the same time, you'll feel the good effect. People like to take powder, raw powder, and just put it in their coffee, their tea, orange juice, whatever. Some people are even known to scoop the powder out, put it on the back of their tongue, and wash it down with something sweet or even water. When I first started taking Kratom, I tried that and almost gagged because of the flavor. But after you do what's called the toss and wash method, you get used to it. Now I can have it in my mouth. It really doesn't bother me too much. Even if I taste it, I'm just like, yeah, whatever. You have some nice fresh orange juice nearby, or grapefruit juice works great because it's supposed to stir up the acids in your stomach to get the effects going better. They tried to ban Kratom about 3 years ago, I believe, maybe 2.5. And a 24-hour period before the ban went into effect, somebody up in Congress somewhere said, no, stop, wait, okay, don't do this. This stuff isn't what you think it is. Do some more research. It's helping a lot of people. Give it some time. And since then, nothing. My experiences, like I said, have been nothing but positive to say. I've tried and experimented with at least 5 or 6 different strains. And again, I've always been a fan of the Mang Da strain. I've taken Bali, Indonesian, Malay, Superior Red Dragon, um, even the Thai brand or Thai strain. The Mang Da is pretty much my favorite. It's energizing, it's uplifting, invigorating, and it just makes you feel much more uplifted. And if you have some pain, it does have an effect on your pain level. It tends to bring it down a little bit because it mingles with your opiate receptors in your brain. But other restraints are much better for pain because they have more anti-inflammatory properties. Uh, some people say, well, what isn't kratom? Good question. Alkaloids. Alkaloids, and there's a couple too that are very isolated that are mainly used in like extracts, but they're the ones that bind onto the same receptors in your brain that opioids do. I sometimes mix it with coffee. It tends to hit me a little faster, a little better. Coffee could taste, you add your cream and sugar to it, whatever. I've actually mixed it with applesauce before. Any way that you can basically ingest it, it's pretty much going to have a very similar effect on you. When it comes to handling kratom, freshness is key. Believe it or not, because kratom is in the coffee family, when a coffee bean gets picked, okay, it's good for about 2 weeks, freshness wise. Then it goes stale. And even the experts say it doesn't matter how airtight you have the packages, how sealed they are, if it's months before it hits the shelf in any retail store or months before it hits your coffee pot, it's already stale, which is a lot of reason why people have to add stuff to it because it's a little bit on the bitter side. If you've ever had a freshly roasted pot of coffee, well, freshly brewed but freshly roasted beans, it's a sweet treat. Known in Colombia as a sweet treat. You don't have to have anything to it. With kratom, again, freshness is key. So some of the companies out there that are processing the big, large kilos coming in, they put them in smaller packages, capsules, and they send them off to the retail operations where the markup value is pretty high. If they don't handle it right, if they let the sunlight or light get to it, it can have an impact on its quality. So those are a few things I've learned. In general, don't be afraid to try it. If more people are learning about kratom, I think it's so much more beneficial than anything that comes in a white bottle or, well, it sometimes does come in a white bottle, but the orange little bottles, which are basically prescriptions. I'm not a big fan of chemicals. One thing kratom doesn't really do for me is help me with my headaches, so that's why I sometimes will take some Motrin. But in general, I take kratom for just about everything. My little anxiety kick, sometimes if I'm not feeling a good of a funk day, I'm in like a depressive mode, I'll take it. Next thing I know, I'm uplifted. I want to get up and do stuff. It's very stimulating. It's also known to help sexual stimulation. And you can Google all that, more information available, Google other websites, you name it, it's available. Still, it's being scrutinized by a lot of, politicians. They've got a close eye on it. They're always trying to do that whole backdoor ban thing. They've been trying to do that for years. They were almost successful. And I tell you, when that ban almost went into effect, stores were clearing out their stock and their supply. They were selling it for buy one, get one free. And people were buying it by the load because they're like, I don't know how long this is going to last, but once it's done, it's done. Some states have banned it, which I think is harsh, very harsh. Whether it's a money thing, a corruption thing, or just afraid of what it is, who knows? There's a lot of videos online. Netflix has a great, I'd say mildly mediocre, great documentary called Leaf of Faith. It's not too bad. It dives into it. They go into some bars that create some juices and drinks that are, known to have kratom in them. But when you read people's testimonies on getting away from heroin and other opiates, it's amazing. I mean, how can you go wrong with that? You're taking an absolutely dangerous drug that's killing people and saying, go through withdrawal, let the heroin get out of your system, go through withdrawal, start your craving, and then take the kratom. Don't take kratom after an hour or two after you had heroin because you won't feel anything. Okay, I've had people tell me, I took a couple oxycodones earlier in the day, tried this kratom, I didn't feel anything off of it. Well, your body has to be split from the opioid. has to be out of your system, so you start feeling the withdrawal effect. And that's when the Kratom can take that little edge off. I've tried probably a couple dozen brands um, over the past 4.5 years. Some worked great and some didn't work at all. So again, I think a lot of it has to do with the packaging, the handling, and so on and so forth. I'm going to be making a lot more videos. I'm going to be doing some brands reviews, letting people know how it is, what my overall assessment is, the effects, and if I recommend. I highly recommend this stuff. This is, again, the OPMS brand. They come in 8 gram, 15 gram, 30 gram, and 60 gram pouches. They even actually come in little square box, rectangular box, square, whatever boxes that have foil envelopes that have the capsules tucked into them. Most retail stores that I've been to that sell this stuff, the workers or the cashiers don't usually take them. 9 out of 10 people I've been to don't actually take them. Some people do, and they usually can provide you with their own review. Some of the stores that I became a regular at, I would actually hear customers point and say like, "Oh, what is this stuff?" And the cashier would be like, "Oh, that's Kratom." "Well, what is Kratom?" "I don't take it. I really can't tell you a whole lot about it, but we sell quite a bit of it." And next thing I know, I'm getting called over to say, "Hey, you take this. Would you mind giving them a briefing?" So I tell them all about it. So that's basically where this video came into play. Again, I'm going to make some more just to kind of give a lot of information in a smaller period of time, not to yap people's ears off. But Kratom is great. It's good. It saves a lot of people from the nasty stuff that's killing people and doing far much more damage to your system. Theoretically, Kratom is supposed to soothe your stomach. So, I've never heard of a negative thing about it. Nobody dying off of it. There have been reports in hospitals where people show up to an ER and they're going into shock or whatever, but that's usually because they have 4 or 5 different substances in their system, Kratom being one of them. And you can't just contribute to death to, Kratom overdose. I've never heard of anyone ODing off Kratom. So, again, if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment. I can answer them back as best as possible. Again, also, I'll be putting more videos out, showing you some brands, packaging some bottles, things of that nature, letting you know what I think of them. Because I give my reviews to the retail stores all the time, and they let customers know, "Oh yeah, one of my regulars tried that. He said it was not too bad, but nothing compared to this brand." So, hey, glad to spread the awareness, spread the information, keep an open mind, give it a try. I think you might not be disappointed by any means. Thanks again for watching.